Today we begin with this guy right on the screen, the Spooky Bone. For once, it is not about what he did in game, but his role outside of it. Many years ago, the Spooky Bone originally had a YouTube channel. He used this channel as a means of archiving footage on various spycraft servers such as the Art of War and Gallantcraft. He was essentially the Library of Alexandria for obscure Minecraft war servers. However, like the real library, his channel would eventually decline over the months before eventually disappearing. This is where this video comes in, as this video is a version of his base overview video for the Otto-4, where instead of just looking over bases, I rate them, starting with all of the Entente's bases. Starting with the biggest base on the server. The British base is an idealized version of what London would look like transfixed inside of a small space, complete with an oversized Thames River. It contains many nicely made buildings, some for industrial and storage use, and others are representations of real-life places, like the Buckingham Palace, and the British Museum. Each of them with either stunning or okay interiors. Also, a small suburban community just outside of the main wall, and an airfield right outside of the base for the use of aircraft. Additionally, there are a few extra structures, like this naval gate for the River Thames, and an unfinished church to the south of the river. Overall, the base is very well built and very visually stunning. However, in terms of dedicated defensive structures, the base seems to only have a singular sniper tower, along with a few warp tents around the outer wall. However, they were probably not built with anything other than ease of access around the base. The base also has its size, making it very difficult to conquest it straightforward. Overall, the British base is probably one of the best built on the server, in terms of visuals at least. Now, on to Paris, the city of light. The city itself contains very nice buildings, although nothing compared to the size and scale of London. It is also far more homely rather than going for glory, its main attraction being the National Assembly building. There are also a few more stone-themed buildings, like the factory. Armory. And this castle. Along with the other neoclassic buildings, like the Cafe Hanoi. Various ministry buildings are around the base. And the National Bank of France. interiors of which are actually mostly empty, and room design is mediocre at best. The walls and fortifications of the base also seem a bit better prepared to handle a true assault. However, that mostly comes down to the fact that they actually have places to take cover from. Although the base's smaller size might cancel out this advantage. Overall, France is quite homely and an equal contender to Britain in terms of visual design. If you don't understand why Germany is here, watch my previous Auto War videos first. But the original main base was an extremely ugly cobblestone box. However, the Austrians tore it down, so Germany built a new base. This one is not visually better than the original, mainly being another box. However, the defensive nature of the base is a bit better than the other one. A few sniper towers and walls to keep intruders out. And some openings to shoot from the base level. Overall, it's serviceable for its job, but it still looks terrible. Next is possibly one of the most interesting bases on a server. Greece's base consists of one giant building, the main building being one of the most unique on the server, taking elements of Greek architecture and its own ideas and using them in a unique way to create a truly stunning base to look at. But it's not just on the outside where it's stunning. The inside also features quite a bit going on, including a nice central area, a collection of various storage rooms, a cafe, and a trophy room that I have to censor because people cannot be nice to each other. Below the main floor lies not only a beautiful garden, a farm, and a symbol of Greek nationalism. But a whole another city under it, simply known as Anti-Athens. However, the base has a fatal flaw. Do you see these red lines? This means this base was built in between 4 different provinces. I don't know if this is a purposeful design choice, or simply something that happened because it did. But this means if one of the nearby provinces is taken, well, 1/4 of their base just automatically is given to an enemy with minimal effort. While the sheer amount of fortifications might be hard to crack, the base is fundamentally built on weak links. However, its extraordinary visuals make up for it. Italy's base is overall a bit mid, mainly consisting of one singular building that is partially damaged and or unfinished. The insides are also partially destroyed, along with the defensive wall around the base being both mediocre and unfinished, seeming mostly to be directed against raids. Overall, Rome is nothing special, but nothing terrible. Serbia's base is a special case. Their base was mainly built in a rush to stop constant raiding. The outcome proves it. It's a poor cobblestone box containing all the essentials, so it wasn't exactly built with long-term prosperity in mind. It has a few spots for shooting from the inside and a few trenches on the exterior. While the interior itself is far more homely, although rough. It has a grand chest room with tons of intact combat kits, along with an elaborate tunnel system for all the various bunkers and fortifications. And some ample trees. It also has a few towers for sniping and anti-air. Overall, well rushed in design, the base is as home as it'll get. Romania started far later as a faction than the others, building their base later into the server. Regardless, the base looks decent, resembling a fortress, and the interior is a bit serviceable, but at least a bit unfinished. And there are a good amount of small openings in the base for external shooting. It is a decent base, so it is essentially an unfinished building. Scandinavia's base is serviceable all around. It doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look great either. The outside is guarded by ugly high walls to prevent raids in all directions, with the south which is a far more dedicated walling to prevent a mass assault. The base itself has a bit of personality. It has one central building, it also contains a monument to Germany's destroyed base. And the inside has a few storage and general rooms with square designs. Not the worst, but not the best either. The Hejazi base was much like Serbia's, was made in a rush to prevent raiding. The base, like Serbia's, was equipped with positions meant for shooting out at people, though most of them were in the frontal courtyard. The base was practically blind from the back, given the interesting walling, and the blocky nature of the base also prevents effective defenses in other directions. Overall, it was made in a rush for basic protection, and that's what it does well. Now for the first Quadruple Alliance base, Budapest. It's probably the most fortified base on the server, the entire perimeter being a repeat of a bunker schematic. It's the most well prepared of any base on the server to deal with a full assault. It also contains a small city on the inside of the walls. The buildings themselves are okay, but they lack personality. It being a cover for the true base that hides under the ground. The underground is where the interior of the base is, and is also the source for my FPS not being above 40. With mass storage units and rooms, complete with an auto sorter. And a huge farm. The interior makes it clear that any aesthetic effort isn't really a cover to the base's full wartime intentions, which is what this base shines at the most. Ankara Castle. It's an impressive, singular Middle Eastern style fortress with an impressive exterior design. The interior design could be better now. Mostly a few blocky rooms. Excluding some of the upper floors. Though this has its reasons. Trapdoor shooting positions, masked walls, mini barbed wire emplacements, along with the entire base being on elevated ground. Normally, this will be good for defending. However, the base has one fatal flaw. The fact it wasn't built on its province flag, so the entire structure is partially redundant in defense, as it doesn't have to be strong in order to take over the province, as seen here. Overall, a very nice base with a very big Achilles heel. Bulgaria's base is like Germany's, but worse, because it is just a copy-pasted schematic of a forward operating base. Not only that, it's not even on the province flag of this province, so even as a defensive structure, it can be bypassed entirely, making it useless at best. Russia's base was mostly an overglorified farming outpost, with a vast set of farms containing, but not limited to, soy, cotton, wheat, and apple trees. Only protected by a few fields of barbed wire and some walls. along the central courtyard, also being defended by some high walls at most, that contained most of Russia's chests. While the base wasn't a base, it is good for what it is, which is a farming outpost. Unlike every other base in the server, Iberia forsakes traditional human architecture and goes for a honeycomb design. All unconventional, it gives the base a well-needed sense of personality of its own. Comprised of multiple honeycomb chambers, the most notable thing on the outside, other than the honeycombs and all the borrowed wire and walling, is the airstrip. Inside are either empty combs of farms, relaxation combs, storage, and or other sorts of combs. There is also the central set of combs that act as high-rise defensive towers. Definitely both one of the strangest and one of the most unique bases on the server. Imagine Bulgaria, but slightly more unfinished, and the base was actually built on its province flank properly. Still looks terrible, but it is actually useful this time. Thank you for watching. This video has been a long time procrastinated, and it's good that it's now finally out. However, don't expect a video this long again in the near future. However, there is something that I'm working on that should be out, hopefully by the end of next year. That will more than make up for the void of long videos. In the meantime, I must say my goodbyes. Take this wargame footage as one final gift before I go. Now, bye.